How you doing?
I'm doing well. Just got the new setup here. Obviously, the behind me. Last night I tried to set up a green screen behind
Did you
me.
really?
Yeah, like I got this huge green screen material. I set it all up last night, and it looked pretty good. I have to say, it looked pretty good. But then it still had those little edges around, like the hair and stuff. It is like fuzzy. I'm like, how do people get this
Perfect.
perfect?
Yeah.
It's so difficult to me, but it was good enough to be passable, I think. But it still was obviously not real life. I don't know, something about real life I appreciate.
No, for sure. And then does Final Cut have like a background remover tool? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this was like in OBS, so you could do all that within OBS. And
okay.
It just does it all for you. I uploaded like the studio background image, and it looked real goofy.
Yeah. Because I've been using the background removal tool on LumaFusion more and more.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks okay.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. I have to admit.
But I mean, it works decently, and especially because I used it the other day, and the video that I was scrolling through already had a black background, so like my hair and stuff like that, it was fine. You know what I mean? Like
I noticed that. I watched the video and I was like, oh, this actually, it doesn't look terrible. It looks pretty good. Yeah. I'm like, man, I don't have the guts to do that, but
and also the camera. So the natural bokeh, the real one, is way easier, I guess, for the software to differentiate between foreground and background. Versus when I use my iPhone, it wasn't nearly as good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, there's way more separation with the actual camera, with the 1-inch sensor, or it's actually bigger than 1-inch sensor. But that makes a difference.
For sure. So I mean, I'm curious to see how your green screen does end up working, if you go with it.
It's probably not ever.
No?
Like I bought this thing probably a year ago, and I was just because I'm rearranging everything. And I have to say, I do love this setup. It is pretty. It's probably my favorite setup ever.
Yeah.
It's so I have. I'll show you in the video. But
okay.
We'll save that.
No, yeah, I'm curious about it to see especially what your A-roll setup looks like moving forward. Do you have the desk in the background?
See, I probably will use this as the background. So I'll probably would turn around and have the camera behind me, because this is not doing it. It's pretty utilitarian back here. This is just stuff for storage and stuff like that. Here is where the magic happens, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. I don't really do A-roll, though. Not really. Like, I do, but not really.
Like your standing talking shots.
Yeah, but I don't do... I mean, how often do you
I guess
see
you're
me do
right.
that?
It's normally just like a quick in the intro or something, and then...
No, it's
or
normally...
sometimes not even.
Normally, I don't do A-roll. Like, as a rule, I've historically not done A-roll. Like, it used to be, like, shock when I would be on camera. They were like, oh, there's your face. I just never...
I guess that's so true, because when you do your iOS walkthroughs, it's like the intro is a voiceover of what you're about to do, but fast forwarded. Like,
I don't like being on camera. I'm shy. Like,
but you got a camera face though.
Oh my gosh! Come on. Mom said I have a face for radio. What does that mean?
He does have a majestic voice, ladies and gentlemen.
So, speaking of, I was going to say speaking of AI. But,
or speaking of voice assistants.
Yeah. So, how is Siri working? I have to say, Siri launched with the iPhone 4S. Was that 2010?
4S would have maybe 2011, but it's around there. 2010, 2011.
Because 2010 was the iPad. I know that.
07 was the first one. 08 was a 3G. 09 3GS. 10 4.
2011, I guess. Yeah, 2011. So Siri's been a thing since then.
Yeah, if you think that's true. It's been around for a while.
15 years, right?
Yeah.
15 years.
Do you remember that old UI that it had?
Oh, yeah. I definitely do. I remember I mean, it was, well, we can talk about it, but
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is Siri is so terrible. Like it's, and I don't like to be this person because I know that like people really are working hard on making Siri good, but come on, man.
Are they
like,
though? You know, like you would think. I guess sometimes money and people isn't enough. Like you gotta have the right people, but like it's the one of the richest companies on the planet, and they can't figure out Siri after 15 years. I don't know. I don't like to be negative either, but this is like the one of the weak points that Apple's had for a long time.
I just hate like because I know in this online world, it is so easy to go negative.
Yeah.
And so easy to forget that there's actual flesh and blood who are behind the things that we talk about. So I don't like to disparage people's work, even if it isn't very good from an objective standpoint. But I just have to say, it's really bad because, dude, like I will ask Siri to this day, like, what time is it? And she's like, giving me, it's just completely irrelevant stuff. Like the simplest commands, like what's the weather outside? And it will just go on some erroneous rant, like just basic stuff, or play this song, and it just cannot do it. It refuses to do it. It refuses to parse the data to make it work. And this happens all the time. It's not like a one-off thing. Siri is just not that good, and it's been 15 years, and it's just hard to have faith that it will ever be good. It's pretty bad.
To at least start, I guess more so, maybe give it its flowers, if you can even call it that. Do you use Siri at all, in any capacity? Do you see yourself using it? Okay, so what do you use Siri for? I'm curious.
To play music, basic stuff. Play music.
Yeah.
What time is it? What's the weather like? Those are usually the top three things. Like what time is it? If I'm like ironing my shirt and I'm running late for an appointment or something, and I'm like, hey, what time is it? And more or less it'll get that right, but there's often times when it doesn't.
Yeah. Or
I'll ask, what's the weather like? What's the high temperature today? And it's just basic stuff. Like I don't do anything super complex with it. So what about you?
I can think of my like most recurring use case is setting a timer. I do that on my Apple Watch constantly. So I just like hold the button down and say set a blank minute timer, whether I'm cooking or need to spend 10 minutes doing something.
So you don't do the raised thing? You don't do that?
No, I don't.
Huh?
I do not.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why.
You mentioned hold the button. Why don't you do that?
Is that does?
It works pretty well, actually.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know that was a feature.
Serious?
I'm serious.
Okay.
For sure. And then what else do I use? Oh, and then when I'm running, I'll tell it to turn the volume up and down on my headphones, or like skip to the next track or something. I'll be like, hey, blank. I have to say it loud. But if I say it loud enough, then it hits it pretty much every single time. I'll be like, set volume to 70% or something like that. And it does it pretty well. But those are the only two things that I think I use Siri for. At least the way that it was intended to be used as like a voice assistant. Yeah.
It is pretty, I mean, I can't really say it's improved drastically since 2011. It really just hasn't. And I'm not being hyperbolic. It's just, like everyday regular things. Like it just happened to me the other day. It was the most simple command that I asked, and it could not parse it. It couldn't understand it. So it was just like, and I was thinking to myself, man, I got to talk about this. This is really, really bad. But the point of this conversation is that Apple back in 2024, WWDC, so the year before last.
It's been like 2 years, yeah.
They promised a new version of Siri that had all these other features and changes. That was a part of the whole Apple Intelligence like subset
showcase. Whatever it was. And they even came out with like commercials for it, of like this contextually aware Siri that was gonna really be an assistant and help you out and things like that. And for the most part, we haven't gotten any of that, to this day.
None of it. We haven't got the personal context. We haven't got the on-screen awareness feature that basically would tell you that, like,
that's so true.
You could take action to with things that are on screen. There's also the app actions, like being able to say, do this in this app. And
yeah.
So those are the three things that did not launch. Now, obviously, Apple did launch Apple Intelligence, some of the features, but those were not the flagship features that they showed off in this video. That was very impressive, but it was obviously a mock-up, a concept. It wasn't something that they even had working, or if they did have it working, it was very unreliable at the time. So much so that they never even shipped it.
Mm-hmm. And they took down that one commercial from like all their channels and all their socials and stuff like that. And again, there is a differentiation, I think, a little bit between Apple Intelligence and Siri. It's kind of like the square and the rectangle. Like I don't know, one is the same as the other, but the other one isn't. Because they did add the Apple Intelligence stuff, the image playgrounds, a lot of the summarizations, the emoji customizations. But yeah, I don't use any of those things. They brought visual intelligence finally over, the circle to search. There's a bunch of like little things that they added, but I don't use any of it. Like any of it.
I don't. It's
crazy.
Either. Like I don't either. And yeah, I'm trying to think of it. Is there any real Apple Intelligence thing that I don't use the Chat GPT integration.
I tried to.
It's just,
and this is coming from a guy who coming from a guy who tries to force a square into a hole with his iPad. You know what I mean? I tried to use all the stuff that Apple promised, and it was just it was just slowing me down so much for what I wanted to try to use it for, and it just wasn't helpful. So I pretty much turned it all off. Honestly.
Interesting. Really?
Yeah.
I just. And we don't have to stay on this train of negativity, but just basically what we're doing is setting the stage for what we're going to talk about, and that is Apple turning to Google.
Yeah.
Google Gemini.
Which is interesting. Yeah. So, supposedly they came out with a very subtle, very short, and honestly, Google was the one that posted it. Apple hasn't said anything, but they just haven't denied it. But it's a joint press release or a joint announcement with Google and Apple that a multi-year agreement is happening where Apple's going to use Gemini as a foundation to rebuild Siri. And that was pretty much the extent of the announcement.
Foundation of the foundation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Another foundation. Which is interesting, I thought that was kind of crazy. The Google and the Apples of the world, and Apple's letting Google into the walled garden a little bit. So it's just interesting. At least something to talk about, And hopefully it's going to be a net positive.
Yeah, this was not something that Apple released. They didn't release a press release. There's nothing on Apple Newsroom about it. You didn't get a statement from any Apple executive. I think they were they on CNBC. They issued a statement to Jim Cramer, I believe, and of course Google also made a statement. But this isn't something that it feels like Apple is like proud of or wants to be, to really throw their weight behind. Yeah, it's just interesting.
I know. And then there was a lot of misconception in the beginning, and understandably so. Like, people thought Google's going to overtake the iPhone. The iPhone's going to turn into a Pixel. They're going to Googleify everything. And it's not really that. I think it's more so Apple is buying the ability to use the Gemini code and then making it Siri, as opposed to just using Gemini as the assistant on your iPhone, if that makes any sense. Which I think is going to be a net positive overall, and I'm glad they're doing it that way because I don't want another ported ChatGPT situation coming over because that was not useful. So I do think it's going to end up working out. It's just the state of what Apple had to end up doing, and we were talking about in the very beginning. It's been around since 2011. And now, 15 years later, they're knocking on the competitor's door for help, kind of thing. So,
yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, what this seems like is basically custom version of Gemini that Apple's able to take advantage of. Obviously, it's going to have guardrails in place to Applefy it, I guess you could say, but it's not like Google is taking over the iPhone. It's not like your iPhone's becoming a Pixel. This is Apple using technology that they frankly weren't good enough to make. That they didn't have the ability. I mean, think about the resources like a Amazon or a Google. These are big data companies, like known for big data, being able to crunch numbers. They have huge data centers. Apple does as well, but that's mainly for the customers, right? Like the data centers that Apple has is for like your iCloud storage. It's not for processing AI models. It's not these huge GPU farms that are, working with these massive AI models. Whereas companies like OpenAI, Google, Amazon, these are companies that have that sort of bandwidth to be able to do this and do it well. Apple never had that sort of bandwidth to do this. Like, it's not even something that really matched up with their company model, their company.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's just like, how do you expect them to be good at this? How did they expect themselves to be good at this when they weren't really
they weren't doing it? Yeah,
they weren't able to go all in with it.
Yeah.
To the level of a Google, who has these massive data centers that are specifically aimed at this, like, providing for customers, right? Apple is not a provider. They provide for their customer base who buys their devices, but they're not like, you don't go and buy GPU resources from Apple. Like, no, right?
It's the opposite thing that you do.
Yeah.
You charge an arm and a leg for it,
So, like, it makes sense in that way. I mean, and granted, this is coming from someone who knows very, very little about this kind of stuff. This is just me looking at it from a big picture, high level sort of view. But I just think that Apple never had the capabilities. At least they haven't had the capabilities. Whether or not they'll use this sort of like, with Google Maps, it's kind of the same thing. Just like Google Maps, the iPhone launched with Google Maps support.
Yeah.
The iPhone launched with YouTube. And the reason why they used Maps was they didn't have that ability at the time. They eventually got it to the point where they could launch their own service, their mapping service, and it's decent now.
Now it is.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story. I remember that launch.
So whether or not this will be the same thing, I don't really know. Like, is this something that they're just using as sort of a stopgap solution until they are good enough to do it on their own? But really, are they ever going to be good enough to do it on their own? First of all, they're so far behind already. And this is a different ballgame. This isn't sending out cars on the road to map out. I mean, this is like a lot more intense sort of work. So
yeah, I mean, and it goes back to the Siri versus like Google Assistant one way back in the day. And I think it's because, like you said, like this wasn't part of Apple's game, and Siri was never, because I think Apple has been so privacy focused and like not sharing data and like, I guess, gathering user trend data. I'm sure they do from their own perspective and things like that, but it was never used to make Siri quote unquote better, right? Versus on the Google side, especially early days, they used all that user data to continuously make Google Assistant better and better and more conversational and more useful. So Apple's always been behind the ball with their voice assistant because of that fact. So you're right, like Apple or Google and all these other companies are purpose built for this exact situation.
So do you use Google Gemini? Like,
no. I mean, I downloaded it after the news came out, tried to use it for a day or two, and I'm just so used to ChatGPT right now and the way that it formats and the way that I use the chat bot as a tool. I'm just used to ChatGPT for now. Will I eventually go to Gemini? I mean, I don't think I need to go to Gemini, right? Because at some point, Apple's going to bring it over. And it's not like I don't think we're ever going to need to like pay Gemini to use Apple Intelligence. I don't know, maybe Apple has some sort of paid tier or something like that, but I do think it's going to be completely separate. So like starting to use Gemini now isn't going to benefit you moving forward when you use the Siri Gemini combination on the Apple phone.
that's one of the questions I was wondering. Like, will you be able to similarly to how you're able to log in to open? Well, you're not really logging in. I guess you kind of are.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, there's a login section in settings
yeah.
for ChatGPT.
Yeah, I wonder, like, can you like migrate all your Gemini like history over to this?
So
that will be a thing.
So that's one thing that's interesting because like I was talking to Gemini. I was like, all right, ChatGPT knows me super well. How do I make it so you know everything that ChatGPT knows? And then it walked you through a whole process on how to get ChatGPT to basically list out this whole thing about you and like basically put you into an essay and then import that into Gemini. So then Gemini at least has some sort of starting point to understand who you are. Crazy. If you've seen the show Upload, this is we're getting closer to that in my opinion.
But there was actually several things that were outlined in the information article about what's actually the goal is. One was to provide better emotional support when a user says they're feeling lonely or disheartened. And we've all heard these stories about people like forming relationships with chat. You see what I mean? Like, stop. You don't even know what you're talking about.
1 moment.
There she is.
I didn't even say.
Something's taking a little too long here.
Something
Do
is
you hear
taking a
that?
long time. It's taken 15 years.
Yeah, so I mean, we've heard these stories though about ones that are using ChatGPT as like an actual relationship.
Yeah. Which is like, I don't know. I'm not here to judge or whatever. My ChatGPT it's there for a purpose. I literally use it as like an assistant on the side. Like I'm not like polite to it. I'm not saying please and thank you to it. You know what I mean? Like it's a tool. But I'm fully aware that it can be much more to other people. And I guess that's fine. If you want it to be that way, I don't know. If you want, I guess that's fine.
We listen and we
But
don't
it's
judge.
not for me, you know?
We listen and we don't judge. Okay.
Exactly.
So that's one thing. The other thing is to offer more accurate world knowledge and factual answers with the conversational answers similar to ChatGPT and Gemini chatbots. Okay. Table
nice.
stakes.
We'll take that.
And then the next one is to perform tasks such as creating a document in Apple Notes about a specific subject.
See that's useful. Like maybe, like let's say I'm walking my dog and I just hold the button on my phone down and then I have like an idea in my head and like, you've obviously seen the Marvel movie, or maybe not obviously, but you've seen the Marvel movies, right?
A few of them. Yeah.
Like the Tony Stark situation where like he has an idea and then he starts
Jarvis.
talking to Jarvis about it, and Jarvis starts building it around his idea, the way that he built like the time machine. Like that is what you want Apple Intelligence and Siri to be. It's like you have an idea, I have the bones about it, help me figure it out. Let me get specific with you so I don't have to do the math in my head or on a calculator, and then help me build whatever it is, right? Whether
And
it is
it's
something
already come into fruition in a very large way with just people building apps like vibe coding. Like literally
that's
building
huge.
apps. People who have no computer science background are able to use these, use AI, basically, Chat GPT or whatever the case may be, and make their own application from scratch.
Yeah. And so imagine just like you have 10 minutes where you're walking around, you want to build your own workout program, right? You want to build a new budget for the next month, and you just like talk it out and give specifics to the assistant, and then when you get home, you open up your notes and everything is there for you to look at. Like that's what you want. I think that is a form of success for a Siri on your iPhone.
Let me ask you this, though. As someone who does use ChatGPT, we won't keep this very long because we're already getting a little lengthy there, but do you really see this as something fundamentally, a fundamental improvement in day-to-day life? Like, do you see like a clear line between pre-ChatGPT and post-ChatGPT and how it has made your life a better, like just better? Or is it less than that?
I think, does it have the same effect that maybe like the Google search engine did back in the day? Maybe not quite as much, maybe. I mean, maybe information is now just like a commodity. Google search has made it that way for a while, but now it's like faster and more conversational. I don't know if that's better or worse or the same. Have I gotten better at maybe like doing my job? Maybe I'm able to do a little bit more, but still there's like a level of checks and balances where like you can't believe everything it says. You still have to go back and proofread everything you do, and if you need help with an outline, like you need to make sure you're not just like blindly following it, because then at that point you've lost the game. So I don't know yet, but I use it a lot, right? And for a lot of aspects, like I have it open right now because I grabbed a couple articles and I wanted to get some talking points for this conversation. And then I'm seeing that I have like 3 pinned conversations with ChatGPT. One of them is my personal trainer setup. Another one is a financial advice one that I created. And then another one is like baby questions that I have whenever, like if my baby has a rash or like if my baby isn't sleeping, or so it's made information finding easier, I guess, maybe.
But, okay, so what is? I mean, and I don't mean to sound pedantic or just being like into the weeds or really.
No, let's get
being
into it.
really, particular about this. But
Yeah.
What is it really doing that's different from a Google search? And I know I sound like I'm 90 years old now, but it's okay. What is it that really makes it different from a Google search? Is it the fact that you don't have to parse through all the data yourself? Or is it, I mean, especially because you still have to determine whether this is true or not.
Yeah. So that's the hard part. But I think that's just like an internet problem versus like a ChatGPT problem, whether something is true or not.
But at least with the internet, you get multiple sources presented to you. With ChatGPT, it's like, I guess it's sourcing multiple sources technically.
Mm-hmm.
But it to me, it feels like there's more like being able to have insight as to what you're looking at and determining whether or not, based on comparing analysis and what is this person saying versus what this site's saying, coming to the conclusion
Mm-hmm.
is more in the users. I'm in control of that to come to the conclusion. Whereas with ChatGPT, you're like kind of putting the control into the chatbots or in the OpenAI's hands and saying, okay, you tell me what's right and wrong.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't want it to get to the point where like you're like outsourcing your thinking, like your thought process.
Exactly. That's kind of where I'm going with this.
Yeah, because I can see that being a slippery slope for sure, and I can see how people already would use some sort of AI chatbot in that sense, right? It's like, here are like 18 things to look at. What do you think about it? And it'll summarize all the data for you and then give you its thought. But then the thing is, like, you can make it think however you want it to think, right? For that financial advice one, there's like a million different people that had different views on like how you should run your finances, right? Like you have the Dave Ramsey approach, which is like zero debt, all like don't get into debt for anything whatsoever. Other people are like, a mortgage debt is fine, and da da da. So like the financial advice one, I could just be like, talk to me as if you were Dave Ramsey. That's the kind of financial advice that I want. Again, that's a little bit, that's not going to ruin anything for you at the end of the day, but you can see it having a big negative effect in some other use cases, right? Whether it is news, politics, whatever. So that's the outsourcing of thinking and opinion could be something that's not, it's just like a negative thing when it comes to AI and ChatGPT and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of a whole nother conversation. So I'm sorry to steer the ship back to the right port here. But those are like genuine questions that I've always had about these things. I don't really use ChatGPT like that. I hear people every day in my day-to-day life. I don't know what that was, but I hear things in my day-to-day life where people say, "Oh, I threw it in ChatGPT to see what it said." Like I put it in ChatGPT. It's almost like I Googled it, but now this is the new. I don't know, man. This is.
Yeah. I mean, just think about it, even just like in the simplest form. Like, yes, I use it now over Google, but for simple information, like convert this to this. That's another thing Siri can kind of do right now, like milliliters to centimeters, something like that, like things like that. So I still use it for like simplified fact-based information. Or another one is like if I want to aggregate all the, like for tax season, of course, please blank out all of your personal information when you do input it into ChatGPT, but very beneficial for that kind of workflow, right? Taking over those kind of jobs. So, I mean, there is benefit, there's negative, but just like anything, it's just people got to adapt to it. And I do think it's something that's here to stay. But I also think that there's a lot of like BS, for lack of a better term, in like 99% of anybody that has AI in their title of a product or a service is full of it, in my opinion. There's like 3 big ones, just like the search engine battles were and the .com battles were. There's going to be like 3 big ones that come out on top, and then everything else will just kind of go to the wayside when it comes to this world.
So,
that being said,
yeah. So another thing here is to perform more personal tasks like booking travel. Like that's going to be interesting to see how that actually.
Yeah, like I don't.
That's a far, like there's so much nuance that goes on with booking travel.
Yeah,
like that you want to have control of. Right? You don't want to just throw that. Like I wouldn't even trust a human to book my travel.
Right. Yeah, it's like booking travel for me, I need to be at my desk to do that. I'm barely doing that on my phone. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I need a big screen. I need to know where I'm going, if I can use points, if I can, what's the cheapest amount of money I can spend to do it. I need to cross-reference everything. Like, how is that assistant going to do that? How is the new Siri going to do that? It's one thing to order an Uber, but even then, like, what's Uber X versus Uber Black versus Uber Carpool? Things like that.
Yeah, so much. There's just so many variables there. But okay, handle situations where Siri clearly doesn't understand the user's questions or requests. So basically, handling every situation, pretty much, because this is like. And another one they have here is to tell stories, which I mean, we can already do that with Siri with ChatGPT integration as well. But I guess it kind of goes back to the whole personal thing, like.
Yeah, like think of it like make up your own story.
Yeah, basically.
I don't want to I make up stories for my daughter at night. I don't want to be like, all right, chat, like make up a story about a princess and like here and just give the phone to my daughter. There's like a big disconnect there that I never want to cross. That's weird. Yeah.
So these are all things that will use Google's Gemini models, and it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. There's also part of iOS 27, the ability to remember past conversations. That's obviously a big thing with ChatGPT, as you mentioned, being able to have that context. To not have that context, basically with Siri, it's like you're starting over from scratch every single time.
Yeah.
It doesn't remember anything. Like I'll tell it to play a song, and I'll do the same exact song I ask it to request like a week later, and it's like off in left field somewhere. It has no idea what, and it's like, dude, I asked you that last week. Why? Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, hopefully there is a little bit of context. Again, it doesn't need to be like a game-changing thing. Just make my life a little easier in terms of like, give me some good autocomplete suggestions. Give me, be able to reach into one app, grab something that you need, and put it into the other app for me, right? Like little things like that. I don't need it. I don't need to have conversations with my phone. You know what I mean? That's not a big deal for me. Like, yes, find me 3 shops or find me 3 restaurants that are all sushi related. Pick the one with the highest rating. Make a reservation for me. And even that, I don't really know if I would say all that naturally without demoing it, if that makes any sense. But like that's like the extent that I would want. Just do that for me. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and then one last little bullet point here: proactive features such as one to suggest when to leave to pick up a friend in the airport and avoid traffic, which that's definitely doable, I would imagine.
It kind of does that already.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I get those notifications. It's like, oh, heavy traffic to here, like you should leave soon.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting, but apparently the first Gemini-based iPhone features are on track to ship as a part of iOS 26.4, which should be entering beta next month. So that'll be interesting. Interesting to see how that works out.
What do you think that means? Like, what do you think they're going to be putting it in first? if you were to guess?
I would probably say just the initial onboarding aspect of it, like just the very basics, and then I'd be shocked if we saw the Siri stuff right off top. Maybe, but I just don't see that. Or maybe they're so confident because they're like, oh, we actually have these models that work now. That, oh, it's actually working. It works. So maybe they already do have it.
No, yeah, I'm curious what that even means. 26.4. What could they be adding that's like small but good enough to put out to the, I guess not the public, but to the beta testers? I mean, we'll see. And then I'm very curious to see how they sell it to people at WWDC for a second or third time. You know? So let's see how that goes. Again, I'm going to stay optimistic when it comes to this. I do think it's interesting that now Apple and Google are playing together in this world, sort of. Because I'm sure like they're paying supposedly $1 billion a year, right? For this, it's like a license or a partnership, but I'm sure it comes with like Google resources in terms of services, software, and people. So there's going to be some sort of mixing of the two, and I'm just curious to know what that looks like, and what success for Apple would be when it comes to this, and B, like what success for the end user is going to be, because I really don't know, and I feel like most people don't really care, honestly, and that aren't in our world. What do you think?
The average person, I mean, to be fair, there are lots of people that I would consider, I mean, there's borderline techies, but that they do use ChatGPT. Like that's just a very mainstream thing now. But yeah, I don't think in the grand scheme of things, people really care. They just want a Siri that works.
Yeah.
And that is not something that Apple has been able to provide until now. My biggest thing I'm looking to is what is Apple's long-term game plan with this? That's what's most interesting to me. Are they in this for the long haul, or are they just doing this as a stopgap solution until they're able to provide their own? That is, and what sort of privacy implications or what negatives will Apple's privacy stance have on the capability of these models? So lots of unanswered questions, but we'll be able to get the answers to those hopefully this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, leave some questions down below and what you guys think. Is this a good thing, a bad thing, excited, pessimistic? Curious to know what you guys think.
So am I. Yeah. You know the deal. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit us up on YouTube, subscribe, and please be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcast as well.
And before we leave, any cool videos coming out?
Yes.
In the next week or so?
I have the CalDigit TS5, which I already reviewed the TS5 Plus, but this is the TS5. The TS5 is actually interesting because it does have some features, or at least one feature that makes it better than the Plus in some ways.
Interesting.
Which is interesting. But actually, it's funny. I'm running two CalDigit docks daisy-chained on my desktop right now. So I have two Thunderbolt docks that are daisy-chained together.
My boy's got like 30 ports just ready to go.
Yeah, basically. Pretty much. I got two SD card slots looking at me, two micro SD slots looking at me, 4 USB-C ports looking at me, 2 headphone jacks looking at me, and that's just on the front panel.
And then what on the M1 Pro? The M1 Max?
M4.
The laptop? Oh, the M4, okay.
Yeah, M4 Pro. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I also have my desk setup video that working on. So it's gonna be interesting because I'm really, really happy with this whole thing. I have a little vertical monitor thing going on. That actually makes a pretty big deal. Actually,
it does.
It's nice. It's nice
especially
for
just
reading.
for info, just to have info up there.
Yeah, it's like a little status board. I have Slack there. I have like all my social there. I have like even RSS feeds. Have the websites there, and it's at 144 hertz, so it's super nice scrolling.
Nice. Oh, so you have like a big side one. Is it like 27 incher?
27, yeah.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah. I got this 16-inch side guy. So I got the Slack up there. I got our website, and then I usually have like some sort of like ambient music video, like winter ambiance in the coffee shop. I love my ambient noise.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right.
Well, safe travels to Florida.
Get out of this. It's 11 degrees in New Jersey right now. I'm ready to get out of here for a couple days.
Yeah, it'd be
Let's see how
nice.
it goes. All right, everybody.
Sounds
We'll talk
good,
later.
man. All right. Talk to you later.
Peace.